Thank you guys for jumping on the FFL Republic call. Clay, sweet, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. For those of you guys on here, how do you guys think we can double our income immediately? Who's got an answer? You can drop it in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and give the answer, that's fine too. All right, we got a chat in there. We got a message in the chat from Erica saying working the weekends. So you are 100% right.
Spot on.
All right. So Clay, what do you think about working on the weekends? So you've been here for
about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. How many weekends have you worked?
Every weekend.
Okay. There hasn't been a weekend you've been off.
No.
Okay. How has that helped?
Well, I was telling the team the other night that I probably issue paid about 150 grand, maybe about 175 grand of my 400 some thousand last year working on the weekends. So, okay. And that's just on Friday, Saturday. That's not even including Sunday.
So 2 out of 5 days has accounted for almost half of your production.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, yes, more appointments help without a doubt, but getting a hold of people when they're in the best mood that they can be in, and when they're more available, because guess what? On weekends, people typically have less things to do, right? They're home, maybe they have some errands, but they're not working most of the time. So you can capture, get a hold of them at work, at home. So for you guys that are maybe writing 2, 3 grand, 4 grand a week, and you want to get to 8, you want to get to 10, you want to, whatever your number is, or if you're writing 7 or 8 and you're having trouble breaking through and getting over 10, the simple answer is working the weekends. And guys, I look at Slack every single day. I know he looks at Slack every single day. As you build an agency, it's something that, you focus on is the numbers, who's working, who's not working, who can we help? And we're telling you guys this because we want you to make more money. We want you to change your life. We want to help you. And the number one way we can do that is by promoting working on the weekends, because at the end of the day, that's where the organic growth is going to happen within this team right now with who we have today. And so literally we can go from writing 150 a week to 200 and 250 a week by just everybody working the weekends.
Yeah, it's simple. This is a monkey see, monkey do business. And so when I came on, I asked you and asked Grady, what are you guys doing to set yourself apart from everybody else? And one of the major things was, well, we're not setting ourselves apart from everyone else. We're working just like everybody else is working on the weekends. So, who would you rather sit down with? The guy that got off work at 5:30 that just got yelled at by his boss, that's sitting down and he's just, got sat down playing with the kids, whatever, and he, just getting off work, or the guy that's sitting on the couch on a Saturday at 2:00 in the afternoon with a Budweiser in his hand? That's a much easier sale.
I want the guy with the Budweiser in his hand, 100%. And if he offers me a beer, he's definitely getting insurance. Definitely getting some insurance.
So it's just simple. It's simple. Saturdays are huge for us. And if you look at the people that are top producers, all of us run on Saturdays. And so, if you want to pick up an extra, you don't even need to run all day. I mean, if you want to start small and you're not used to working on Saturdays, start small and work 3 or 4 appointments and just kind of build your way up. But definitely Saturdays have changed my business, changed your business, and all the top producers work on Saturdays. So why not you?
I still work every weekend, right? I was working this Saturday. I was working Friday. So for you guys that are coming from maybe the corporate world, working a job and you're working a 9 to 5, that's where I think the uncomfort tends to happen, because you're used to working like an employee versus working like a business. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But
one point I do want to drive home on. So I wrote $2,500 on Saturday, this past Saturday, just because I went the extra mile and I worked on Saturday.
Okay.
You extrapolate that out by month, that's $10,000 a month.
In a month.
Extra income, that's $120,000 a year. An extra income just because I decided to work on Saturdays. So if you look at it like that, it should be a no-brainer.
100%, 100%. So, 2,500 in a day,
crazy.
10 grand in a month.
Yep.
That's right. Easy math. So guys, break your like for me, I work Monday through Saturday and I take Sundays. Like that's my deal, right? Do I post about Sundays? No, but Monday through Saturday, I'm all in, I'm working. And then Sunday is the day that I take with my family, right? So do the same thing because it works. And the next thing I want to talk about, and Clay, maybe you can help me with this, is treating this like a business. Okay. So we talked about working on the weekends. So let's talk about that, right? So a lot of people get into this business and they think they're running it like a business, but they're running it almost like a hobbyist. Right? They think it's like a hobby that makes them money. Like I remember when I first started DJing, you guys. So back in the day, I used to DJ. I don't anymore. I've retired because obviously it doesn't pay me like Family First Life does. So I'm not going to sit there and DJ now. But
I won't embarrass you and ask you what your DJ name was.
Oh, I'll share it.
Go
Who
ahead.
wants to hear my DJ name? If you guys want to hear my DJ name, drop it in the comments below.
I'm interested now.
I was like, bam, 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 bam. So, and you're old now. I am old now. You're absolutely right. That's why I don't DJ now. But my DJ name is Delusion. Look, my cousin knows it. He's on here. He works with us too. So, but when I first started DJing, Clay, I bought some equipment, right? So to start my business or to start DJing or learning how to DJ, I had to buy turntables, I had to buy speakers, I had to buy a mixer, etc. And so, but when I did that, my mom's like, well, what are you doing that for? I'm like, well, I'm going to, I love music. I'm going to get started and maybe I can make some money. So when I started, I was treating it like a hobby. And then if someone booked me, it was like, oh, cool. I made a few bucks doing what I love doing. And I think a lot of people that get started with Family First Life kind of treat this like that. Like, oh, let me try to see if I could possibly make this work. If maybe I do it on these hours under my conditions and I only spend $100.
Exactly.
Would you agree?
Yes, exactly.
Versus actually treating this thing like a business. So Clay, you and I talked a little bit about that this morning. Why don't you share with everybody your kind of analogy of what it looks like to treat this like a business versus like a hobbyist?
So, I think that some of us make the mistake that when we come into Family First Life, that we have that employee mindset. Like, you just kind of show up when you're told to show up, and you show up when you're told to show up, and you kind of come and go as you please, and you kind of run that rat race of being an employee in a business owner's world. So, I told the analogy with Julius a little earlier is that if you were to start, let's say, a restaurant, right? And you sunk all your money into it, and all your life savings, and you put the time and you order the produce and all that, you wouldn't just start, stop, open, close the restaurant. You'd want to be open as much as possible so you can recoup that money and become as profitable as you can and as fast as possible. So I think that us as business owners, when we come into Family First, we'll buy some leads, we'll run, we'll kind of go on vacation, we'll stop, we'll buy more leads, we'll kind of work them. You never build that consistency because you're a hobbyist. I'm playing agent. I'm not being a business owner. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
My biggest analogy is like, if you were to start a brick and mortar, restaurant, you would definitely 100% be there all the time and put as much time and money as you can into it. And, I just think that we need to get back to the basics when it comes to that is, we are business owners at the end of the day. We're independent brokers, and you want to be your own best employee.
Yep.
You don't want to be your own worst employee.
And I think the other thing that goes hand in hand with it is you've heard Nina say this. And if you guys have been around, you know who Nina is. She made her first, what was it, like 10 grand, I think it was, in like a week or something like that. And then she went to Hawaii for like another week or two after. And then what ends up happening is maybe some of your customers had a change of mind. Maybe they decide not to keep the business, the plan for whatever reason. And it's out of your control. And as a business owner, if you're not in business, you can't generate new business to make up for the business you just lost, right? So you want to make sure you guys are staying ahead of the curve. And the best way to do that is just continuously put more clients, put more business in and create a pipeline of business. And that way, you put 100 apps in, if 10 fall out, you still got 90. You put another 100 in, 10 fall out, you still got 90.
Exactly.
Right. So those 10 don't affect you on the back end that fall through because you keep putting them through. But if you disappear from work for a weekend or two or a week or two, and now you have, something fall off, now you're like, crap, I got to start from a negative versus
Exactly.
keep playing in the positive. So
I would strongly encourage you newer agents and even us that have been in the business for a while, like momentum goes both ways. So there's nothing better than working a lot and building momentum and building cases in the pipeline that you're going to get paid on, and getting those, getting those commissions and building up your bank account so that eventually after a certain amount of time, if you want to go away for a couple of days, you can. But I would strongly recommend, like, you newer agents that are, obviously brand new, I wouldn't plan on stopping anytime, within the first 4 to 6 months. Like, you just need to run as hard as you can.
I would even say a year.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
Exactly. I mean,
so,
when you start a job, are you taking time off when you first start a job?
No.
I mean, that's like frowned upon. Like, what do you mean you're going to take time off?
So you just want to make sure that you're treating this like a business. And I don't think we talk about that enough. We talk about how great this business is and what it's brought and the blessings that we've been, blessed to be with. But we don't talk about the work that goes into it, the daily grind. And so just kind of wanted to share that with you guys that, this is a business. If you treat it like the business, it is the best business ever. And when you don't, it can be a problem.
So let's talk about other examples of how you're going to treat this as a business. So I'm going to give you guys a few pointers. So if you got a pen and paper, this is going to be a good time to jot some things down. So number one, you got to look at your time management. Are you busy and you think you're actually working, or are you actually productive, right? Because a lot of times people say, I'm busy, I'm doing this, that, the other, but how productive have you been to actually move your business forward, right? So time management, are you actually blocking out time out of your calendar to do the different functions of your business? Sometimes it's booking appointments. Sometimes it's following up on your clients. Sometimes it's, learning new things or talking to people, right? And that's kind of leads me into my next thing is number two, are you investing in your business, Clay, right? So how do we invest in our business outside of leads?
Time.
So number one is time. Number two, would you say is knowledge?
Exactly.
Right? Because you're going to sharpen your sword, right? If you're not sharpening your sword, you can only cut so many trees down, if you will, right? Or sharpen your axe. So you want to, like when we started, I mean, how much time did you devote to trainings?
Ton,
right? What was your number one goal to become a top producer? What was your number one goal that you were studying to do that?
I was studying in-home sales and phone scripts like a madman.
Right.
I wanted to get good. I knew that the faster I learned, the more profitable I would be.
There you go.
Period.
So how many of you guys that are out there today are actually treating it like a business and investing your time in it, right? So maybe, you're at 17 grand a month, which is not a bad month, but it's not a great month for Family First Life, but you want to get to 30, 40. Well, if you're not buying new leads or not diversifying your leads or you're not sharpening your skills, you're not investing in your business. So you're going to continue to get what you've got because you don't make a significant change in your business. And then the third thing I would say is, are you making decisions based off of how you feel or based off of a number, right? Because the numbers in your business will tell you the story of what you're doing, right? Versus how you feel, right? Mm-hmm. So any business you guys look at when you break it down, you look at an Apple, an AT&T, or all these, even Integrity, when they're looking at a business and they analyze something, they're not saying, oh, I feel like Clay's working or I feel like Julius is working. They're like, well, let's look at their numbers, right? So if they're going to do a partnership deal with any one of us on this call, they're going to say, well, how many people are they contracting? How much business are they writing? And that's what they're going to make a decision on. Just like you guys in your business, are you buying more leads?
That's so true, dude. Like when you let emotion get into it and I feel like I had a good month, and then you look back at it and you're like, well, I averaged, 40% close ratio, then you should, look at the numbers and go back and watch more training and reach out to your upline. So this is a numbers game. It's an analytics type business. Mm-hmm. And so I know that I've been guilty of that. Saying, golly, man, like I busted my butt this weekend and I booked a lot of appointments and I didn't sell anything. And then I go back and look and I say, well, you sat with this many people. Yeah. You got no-showed by this many people. Like where can we improve? This is very like a diagnosis and prescribe type business. And like, that's the biggest thing that I can say to you guys is like, when you're treating this like a business, and you're not emotional about it and it's
Mhm.
strictly a numbers game, like that's when my business changed last year.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to spend $2,000 a week on leads. I'm going to set 30 appointments. I'm going to get kicked out of a couple homes. I'm going to get no showed. I'm going to have the people open the door and say, thank you, Lord.
Right.
I've been dying to spend money on insurance
Mhm.
and it's a lay down. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to make your 10 grand. You're going to submit 10 grand a week. You're going to issue pay 80 to 8,500. And there's your Hall of Fame. And there's your life-changing money.
Yeah. And it's also on the flip side of it too, right? Because a lot of times people have they go into a negative mindset of, oh, I'm not doing so good, or I've fallen off. But then they look back at what they've actually done in the last month or two, and maybe they had a bad week, and then that bad week that makes them feel a certain way, rather than, well, what did my numbers really say? Okay, maybe my week wasn't as bad. I still wrote $4,000, and I used to work a month to write $4,000, but now we're used to these large numbers, and so it feels worse than it is.
And by the way, even to this day, it happens, and it happens in personal production. It happens when you're
Mhm.
building a team. You have to look at your numbers. Like when you have a bad week personally, or your team has a bad week, you dive deeper into the business. You don't curl up in a ball and cry. You say, okay, what can I do to better my situation?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a business owner does.
Yeah.
You
Same deal with like running business, right? If you woke up today, you didn't have any leads, and you're like, wow, what am I going to do? I guess I'm kind of screwed. Or you can see where there's leads. You can buy some leads. You can hop on a flight and you go there and you run a business and you make money.
And you say, I should have thought about this yesterday.
And boom, and you should have thought about it.
Let's think about leads on Sunday.
So there's a lot there. But if that makes sense, guys, drop a 100 in the chat. We want to make sure we're sharing stuff with you guys that it will actually impact you, because at the end of the day, like, our goal on these calls is to pour into you. We're good at this point because of our production, where from an income standpoint, I mean, I don't know your income, but I know your income, if that makes sense, because we're in the same boat now. But I know we're in a good position, and you guys could be there too. And we want to make sure that we share with you what we've learned. Because if we're not sharing with you, again, we're doing a disservice to you. And that's the goal of all of these calls. Okay.